Well, welcome back to May's reading recap. Unlike April, I didn't read quite as much, but I read some awesome books this month, and I wanted to share a little bit about each one with you. So let's dive in to the books I read this May. To start, I read Darkness Calls the Tiger by Janyre Tromp. This book captured my attention just from the beginning with the cover. That is a cool cover, okay? That is a really awesome cover. I had no idea what it was about, but the tiger on the front looked so cool, and then when it said World War II, I was sold. It was such a great book. I really enjoyed this story. It takes that sort of missionary kid feel of the story. I read a lot of those sort of stories growing up, and then it just brings it to life with some World War II aspects, and it was just a really awesome book. I loved part one. I felt like it really set up the story really well with the character issues between each other and the tension. And then part two was amazing as it was diving into how everything kind of fell apart and the survival instincts. Kaya really reminded me of Katniss from the Hunger Games and Kaya from Where the Crawdads Sing. It was just such an awesome character arc for her as she's really struggling and wrestling with these feelings of revenge and survival instincts and kind of living that guerrilla lifestyle as she's attacking the Japanese. She kind of creates this whole persona for herself as the tiger. It's full of legends and jungle chases and World War II, but it's such a unique aspect on World War II. You never really think of Burma and the Japanese side. I haven't read a ton of those novels, so this was such a fun take on your World War II story where it was combining this missionary kid and the jungles of Burma with the Japanese, and it's just such a unique spin on the story. The characters themselves were really vivid, and I just felt like it was overall a very, very unique story. I haven't read many stories like this recently. After that, I totally switched gears. We went from like this jungle chase and survival instincts and guerrilla attacks against the Japanese to a rom-com. Yeah, this book was actually really fun. I saw the cover and the back cover blurb, and I was just like, this looks like such a fun book. And so obviously I got it. And it was not a letdown. So there are these 4 older ladies who live on a cruise ship instead of a retirement home. And basically their goal in life is to set up certain people together. So they've set their sights on Lacey, who is the cruise hostess, and they're trying to find a match for her. And so this goes down this whole journey as they're trying to matchmake, and then there's lots of different POV switches, so it's not only from their perspective, they also have Lacey's perspective and Jonathan's perspective as everything's kind of colliding and not working together, and the shippers, the 4 old ladies, who are trying to matchmake everybody. They don't know everything about the story. They don't know all of the relationships and connections that Lacey might have and that might hinder a relationship from happening. Overall, it was just such a fun, light read. If you want a summer fun read, this one is for you. It's got a fun romance, a fun rom-com spin to it, and it's also hilarious that it happens on a cruise ship because that is not a great place to be stranded with somebody that old ladies are trying to matchmake you with. There are quite a few different twists that come up and subplots that don't have to do with romance, which is honestly kind of a breath of fresh air because there are glimpses of non-romance in this story, even though it is a rom-com. And best part, there is absolutely no spice, so you never have to be afraid of stumbling upon something that you don't really want to read about. So this was a really fun, clean read that was a fun rom-com, really light read. I never read these things. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of romances and romance novels. I like to have a thread of romance in my books, but I don't always love a solid romance. But this was a fun romance to read. After that, I read my last book I read in May. May was just a busy month, and I just did not have a lot of reading time. But this last one was really fun. I feel like all of these have just been such a different style. We went from World War II in Burma to cruise ships and romance and laughter and giggles to a national treasure type of story where it is contemporary with chases and art forgery and high stakes. It was such a fun story. I don't read a lot of these contemporary suspense novels, and now I'm kind of wishing I do. The hard thing is just finding good ones, and this one was a good one. It was so fast-paced and action-packed, I never felt bored. I loved all the different POVs. So we have the main character, obviously, but then we have so many different POVs scattered throughout. There's a lot of scene breaks, so it never drags on in one character's POV for too long. Honestly, there can be scenes where it's like literally 1 page, 2 page, and it's just like boom, boom, boom all over the place where we're just going through it with different characters and certain things happen. Characters drop off the radar, and that is in the writing style, so we just don't see them for a little while. And then they boom reappear as we discover what's going on through different characters' POVs as we're searching for different people, different clues, different artwork. It was just such a fun story, really fast-paced and action-packed. Kind of reminded me of like a National Treasure with the Jason Bourne car chases and foot chases and chases on boats through the Venice canals, and it was just so much fun. The story starts with Sophie, who is an art forger and a Robin Hood sort of character where she's trying to steal artwork back for different people who have had artwork stolen from them. Instead of just taking the artwork, she perfectly forges artwork based on that piece and then swaps it out and returns it to its rightful owner. And it just starts this whole chase as we have different characters trying to track her down for being this Robin Hood character. And then a new art piece comes up and we discover that it means a lot. And then it's just this whole chase trying to discover the clues and trying to discover all the different pieces of art that tie together, and it's really fun. There is a slight bit of romance. The guy character is awesome. I really enjoyed reading the scenes that he was in, and I just loved how it all tied together. It was never slow, never boring, and it just kept me turning pages the whole time. So these were all the books that I read this month. It was such a wild ride of stories. Nothing was normal for me. I usually camp out in like that historical fiction general feel, whereas none of this was my average read, which was honestly really fun. I enjoy a unique story. And I'd love to hear about the books that you read in May. So if you read any fun books, I'd love to hear about them. Drop a comment, and we can talk a little bit more about the books that you read. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.